This is Bruce Smith at the Daviess County Museum on Main Street in Washington, Indiana. And we're going to endeavor this afternoon to do a recording of this seminar about the PastPerfect online site that the museum has for our catalog collection. We had hoped to provide this seminar online live, but we had some technical difficulties, so we decided to fall back on our tried and true recording device. So again, what we're going to endeavor to do this afternoon is demonstrate to viewers how they can use the Daviess County PastPerfect online site to assist people in their family and genealogy research. And so I think it would be helpful, if you can, to go ahead and log in to the site, our PastPerfect online site. And the address is shown here on the screen, daviesscounty.pastperfectonline.com. So if you haven't already done so, I would encourage you to turn on your computer, laptop, iPhone, or iPad, and then log into this site. And then we'll go to that site on screen, and again we'll try to demonstrate techniques that you can use for family research and genealogy research. To give you a little background about our PastPerfect site while you're logging on, PastPerfect is a company out of Pennsylvania that manufactures software specifically for museums to catalog their collection. And the Daviess County Museum has had that software for about 4 years now, and a team of volunteers for the last 3.5 years has been cataloging various artifacts from the museum's collection, photographs, documents, diaries, letters, objects, textiles, and currently we have a little over 11,700 items that have been cataloged and uploaded to this site, daviesscounty.pastperfectonline.com. So we're going to switch now to the landing page. So if you have, or if you will, log on to our site with that address we previously gave you. This is the page that will come up. This is what they call the landing page for the Daviess County Museum's online PastPerfect site. To give you a very brief background about this site and how it's organized, the items that we catalog are divided into 4 different categories, and they're up here on the top toolbar. You have archives, which are pieces of paper like diaries, letters, documents, legal records, ledgers, business records. Then you also have photographs, which again are simply photographs that either professionally photographs or individual photographs that have been taken in the past. The third item category is libraries, and these are books, published books that you would find in a library. And then the fourth category is objects, which are 3-dimensional items such as tools, statues, plaques, arrowheads, objects that have 3 dimensions. And most of what we have cataloged online, the bulk of it consists of either photos or archives. And what we're going to start to do today, again, is try to demonstrate how you can use this online collection to help you in your research, in your family research or your genealogy research. And I'm going to give you a little background about computers and how you do a word search. Generally, when you're looking for that needle in a haystack. We have over 11,700 items cataloged onto this site. So how do you find the one or two or three specific items that you're going to be interested in, and out of that 11,000 items that have been cataloged? And generally how you do a computer search is by a word search, and there are a variety of different research tools that are available on PastPerfect. But we're going to start with the most basic, which is the keyword search. Up here in the upper left toolbar is the keyword search. And I'm going to click that on. And what you're going to see here is a screen where you can type in a word or words in what's called the search box. And if you type in a word or words into that search box, the computer will then go through the entire cataloged collection that's on the computer and look for that word or words, and it will bring them up. Now I'm going to show you some techniques on how to do that, a word search, correctly, and then I'm going to show you how not to do it. And I'm going to just basically pick on a specific name that I'm very familiar with, and it's the Baldwin family. We have several items about the Baldwin family, and we're going to use that as an illustration of how you can do a search for a family on our online site. So again, we've typed in the word Baldwin. Now you don't have to capitalize that first letter. All the computer is looking for is that particular word in its collection. So you type in this case, the Baldwin, which is the last name of this family, and you hit the search box. And the computer is looking through the collection for that particular name, how many items it's going to find. And it's looking through the entire collection, so it's looking through archives, photos, libraries, and objects, through the entire collection. And as you can see, it's popped up, and the computer has told you that there are 115 items in that 11,000 item collection in which the word Baldwin appears. And what you can do when you've typed in this one word is you can scroll down this list, and you see a variety of different specific items that are in the collection. And you'll note that each collection item has a specific what's called object number. The first one is Cemeteries of Daviess County, Volume 4. That was edited by Barbara Sims Wagner, and that's the object number for that particular book. You can see it's in the library section, so it's in a book. And then there's a second item, is the school history and hearsay about Harrison Township schools, and it's in the archive section, and that's the object number. And you continue to scroll down here, and so you see we have a variety of different objects, and again, each one of those, somewhere in that in those items, the word Baldwin appears. At the bottom of the page, you'll see that there are 6 pages of these items in which the word Baldwin appears. You're looking here at the first page. If you wanted to go to the second page, you simply click Next, and then it will come up with the second page. Again, several different items, all of which have the Baldwin family involved. The word Baldwin has been included in that description. Well, I'm going to show you some interesting things. Well, let's just take a look at one particular item. And let's just pick on this one particular item, which is the title of which is the Elwood and Mary Baldwin family. We're going to click that on, left click that, and then that particular item, that one item, will come up. And you see, this is how we describe items that are cataloged in the collection. And we're going to increase the size of that picture so you can get a better look at that. And so again, the title is, this is the photograph of the Elwood and Mary Baldwin family. We're not sure when the photograph was taken, so the cataloger estimated that this picture was likely taken 1890 to 1910. And you can X out of that and go back to the description of that one particular item. Again, that's the catalog item for that particular photograph in the collection. Down here in the description section, the cataloger has provided a brief description of what you're seeing in this photograph. As far as if you're looking for a family member, this is the most important section when you're looking at cataloged items, and it's called the people field. So when we catalog items into our collection, if we find a name or names that are associated with that particular item, doesn't matter whether it's a photograph or a letter or a diary, the cataloger types in that name in what's called the people field. And that's what's happened in this particular item. And the way we do that is we always catalog it the last name first, comma, then the first name, and then the middle initial. Again, let's assume we're interested in the Baldwin family, and let's click on Elwood A. Baldwin and see what we find. And there we have what happens with the PastPerfect system is when you type in names in the people field, and there's more than one item associated with that name, then all of those items in which Elwood A. Baldwin's name is associated with is brought together by the computer into what's called a people biography field. And fortunately, in this situation, we have a lot of information about Mr. Elwood A. Baldwin. And that all comes together in what's called a people biography field. So there's an early tintype of Mr. Baldwin as a young man. And we know we have information that he was born on April 28, 1850. He was married to Mary C. Prosner Baldwin. His father was Jesse Baldwin. His mother was Eleanor Harris Baldwin. And he had 4 children, Otto, Pearl, Nettie, and Mabel. We also know he was in the pharmaceutical business in Washington, Indiana, and he later had a store apparently in the Montgomery area. And we try to indicate where this information came from to verify the source of this genealogical family history. And most of this information came from Goodspeed's History of Knox and Daviess County. Now, I have to tell you that not all of our entries for all the people in our collection are nearly as extensive as Mr. Baldwin's. This is, frankly, one of our better entries, more detailed entries, because we just happen to have a lot of items about the Baldwin family, and he is referenced in Goodspeed's History of Knox County. We have over 47,000 names cataloged on our PastPerfect computer site, and I can assure you that the overwhelming majority of those names do not have this type of detail. Again, we continue to add to our collection all the time, so hopefully we can expand and increase our catalog section. But once you find a name that you're interested in, again, this is a hypothetical situation that you're looking for the Baldwin family. You can scroll down here, now that we've found Elwood A. Baldwin, and you can scroll down and it will show you all of the items in the collection in which Mr. Elwood A. Baldwin's name is associated. So you scroll down here and you'll see there are a lot of different photographs primarily in which his name or his family's name is associated. So let's go back, let's click on one of those. I think I was showing you this earlier picture of the Baldwin family. And again, we'll click that on. You just drag your mouse onto the photograph, left click it, and then it will enlarge the photograph. And there's Mr. Baldwin sitting in his parlor with his wife, Mary, and these are his 4 children. I'm doing this from memory. I believe that's Otto, and his 3 daughters were Mabel and Nettie, and I'm sorry, I can't remember Mary. Mary was the wife. Nettie and the children, the daughters were Nettie and Pearl. So let's go ahead and click on one of the daughters' names. And let's click on Nettie. Again, there we have a picture of Nettie. And I'm very fond of this picture because Nettie has this rather mischievous smile on her face, and she seems to be having a good time. Again, we know that Nettie was the daughter of Elwood and Mary C. Baldwin, but you can see that we don't have any of the other details about her when she was born, when she may have passed away, whether she was married or whether she had children. But we do have several items. We scroll down here, several items that have her name listed. For instance, we have the program for the May 29, 1913 commencement procedure at the Washington High School. Let's click that on and see what that looks like. And again, we'll go here. The item has been scanned, so we can click it and enlarge the item. And this is the actual scanned commencement program for the commencement procedure in 1913 in Washington High School. And there's more than one page involved. And there's the class roll for the 1913 graduating class of Washington High School. And you can go through this list. I assume, I don't know this, but I assume, and there's Nettie. You'll see her listed up here at the top. So now we know that Nettie Baldwin, the daughter of Mary and Elwood Baldwin, graduated from high school from Washington High School in 1913. Obviously, a very important genealogical data point. And again, to refresh our memory here, in this particular item, which is the 1913 commencement program at Washington High School, there's the object number, the catalog number for that program. And then in the people field, you have listed all the names that are in any way associated with this particular item. Now let's go down and take a look at some other items that we catalog that can be very useful for people doing research. In addition to the names that are associated with each item, you can scroll down to the bottom of the description and you'll find what's called search terms down here at the bottom. And again, this is an item that the cataloger has the discretion to include. And the cataloger in this particular item noted the 1913 Washington High School commencement, People's Theater, and Washington High School. And you look up here and you'll note that in the description that the commencement in 1913 for Washington High School was held at the People's Theater in Washington, Indiana. Well, let's go down here and see what we find if we click on one of these search terms. And let's just pick on Washington High School, a search term, and click that on, left click it. Give the computer a time to put all those things together. And what's happened is you're going to find that there are a lot of items in our collection, of course, that are associated with Washington High School. And there's the search term, Washington High School. And in the collection, there are 37 objects, 171 photos, 151 archives, and 104 library items that have this in the search term box have been entered Washington High School. And again, you can scroll down this very, very long list. And again, you'll get down to the bottom of the page, and there's going to be multiple pages because there's so many items in our collection associated with Washington High School, 19 pages. There are multiple pages of these items. And again, this is just the first page. So if you wanted to go to the second page, you would hit next. And then the second page would come up, and it would show you the various, the second page of items in which the term Washington High School was entered in the search term. Well, let's go back and let's scroll back to where we were before. And let's go back to Nettie. All right. And I want to go back. We found Nettie already. But let's say you were looking for that specific name. And you started, remember, in the keyword search box. And remember, when we first came in to our session, we typed in Baldwin in the keyword search. And the computer looked for that one particular name. Well, let me show you how not to do a keyword search. And I'll explain how you can go wrong. Now I'm going to type in Nettie Baldwin. And of course we know Nettie is the daughter of Elwood and Mary Baldwin. We've already seen her catalog collection. We know that she graduated in 1913. But let's just say you started out and you were looking for Nettie. This is not the way you do it. And the reason that is because you've typed in two words. And there's a default mechanism in the search engine. It will look, the way you've typed that in, the computer will look not for Nettie Baldwin. It will look for Nettie, the word Nettie, and it will also look for the word Baldwin. So it won't just look for Nettie Baldwin, it will look for Nettie and Baldwin, and I'll show you why that's a problem. So let's go ahead and click search, so the way we've typed it in, and I'll show you we come up with 145 results. Well, how is that possible? We only had 115, as I recall, for the Baldwin family. Because what the computer did, it looked for Nettie, the word Nettie, and then it looked for the word Baldwin. So how would you do it correctly if you were just looking for Nettie Baldwin? What you do is you put quotation marks around that phrase, so that the computer then understands you're just looking for the phrase Nettie Baldwin. So let's just see what we find if we use the quotation marks. And now the computer is just looking for Nettie Baldwin, and it finds 14. So it just looked for that phrase. So if you've got a name, two names, a first name and a last name, and you use the word search tool to find out what's in the catalog about that particular name, remember to use the quotation marks around those two words or the phrase that you're looking for. So again, we can scroll down here. There's 14 results. And again, I'm going to show you the picture that we used. This is one of my favorite photographs. Remember, we had Nettie and her mischievous smile. Well, this is the photograph where we cropped Nettie's picture. And I'm going to show you this picture because it's really cute. There's Nettie, and there's her sister Mabel. And as you can see, Mabel is crouched down in a hollow tree, and obviously they're having a good time. And they've even given us, written on the photograph, a date, 1919. So this is the item, that one particular photograph, a black and white photograph from the Baldwin family scrapbook of Mabel in the stump of a tree with Nettie, and the other lady is Anna Kisse, K-I-S-E. And all those names are listed in the people field. Let's go back, and I'm going to show you one other thing before we wrap up this afternoon. Sometimes you'll find in our collection scrapbooks, genealogy, family history scrapbooks that have been compiled by other people and that are in our collection here at the museum. And again, when we typed in the word Nettie Baldwin, we find the Baldwin Family Scrapbook. And let's click that on and see what that looks like. Here we have, and it's remarkable. You might get lucky and find one of these in your search. This is a scrapbook that's been compiled by someone of the Baldwin family. And we estimate that the time period is 1865 to 1955. And Larry Smoot, one of our catalogers, has scanned this entire scrapbook onto the computer. So you click that on and you can scroll to the right and look at each page. So these are and this is just a treasure trove of absolutely wonderful photographs of the Baldwin family. This is Percy Baldwin. He was a dentist who had his office, I believe, out in Montgomery in the early part of the 19th century. There's Dr. Baldwin right there. And so you can scan through and individually look at the pages of this scrapbook that has been put together by somebody and is in our collection here at the Daviess County Museum. So again, every once in a while when you do a research on a family here in our collection, you might get really, really lucky and find one of these scrapbooks that has lots of information. And as you scroll down through this Baldwin scrapbook, you not only see photographs, but then later on there's newspaper articles that have been saved, and then someone has done a report or a family history about it was Perry Baldwin, not Percy Baldwin. And so again, this is a remarkable find if you get lucky enough to find one of these scrapbooks about a particular family. One other item before we close off today, besides the keyword search, is I want to at least introduce you to what's called search by terms. This is another research tool that's available to you when you're doing family or genealogy research and you're trying to locate a particular name or a particular family in our collection. So you go up here to search by term here and click that on. And what you'll come up with in the top one is what's called people. Remember, we talked about the people field and all these names that we've included. And again, we have over 47,000 names cataloged onto our online site. So how do you find those names? Well, they're alphabetized, of course. So let's go to the B's under people. And the computer will go and find, and these are all the B's under people that have been cataloged into our computer system here at the museum. And you can see it's an incredibly long list of names. It's alphabetized, and you can scroll down this long list until you find a name that's interesting to you. So I've scrolled down to the Baldwins. Well, look at all the Baldwins we have in this list. We have a slew of Baldwins. Remember Elwood? He's the patriarch of the family we just looked at. And that's his name. So let's click that on. And there's Elwood. Remember we saw his tintype earlier. You can click on his name. And remember the biographical data, family history data we previously looked at? That's all there under that one listing under Baldwin. And then the 16 results we find are the 16 items in the collection in which Baldwin's name is associated with. And again, so again, you can, if you already have a name, a specific name, one other research tool that you can utilize is going into the people field under search terms and looking for a particular name that's been cataloged into our computer system. Well, I think we've pretty well exhausted our time today, ladies and gentlemen. I certainly hope this introduction to the Daviess County PastPerfect site has been helpful. Again, that's the address for our online site, daviesscounty.pastperfectonline.com. I would encourage you to log on to that site as frequently as you like. Explore that site. There, I guarantee you there's a lot of things to look at, a lot of different names, a lot of different families, schools, churches, a lot of amazing items about the history of Daviess County. So I would encourage you to log on to that site as frequently, as often as you like, and explore the history of Daviess County with that site and with that computer system. Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being with us this afternoon. Ken Graber is my technical expert who put this thing together, so I thank him for his efforts. Ken and I would be very anxious to get your response for this recording to see whether it was useful. We're interested in constructive criticism, so if you have any suggestions on what you'd like to see in the future, or ways that we can improve or make this a better opportunity for our visitors, we would really like to hear from you. Again, thank you for joining us this afternoon, and have a good day.